Hey there, welcome everybody. So glad to have you back on the live stream this evening. This is, I think, episode 91 or 92 of the live stream, and it's so good to have you. The live stream is really laid back. That means you just pop in and pop out whenever you'd like. You can participate in the conversation, however, on whichever platform you're on by just commenting on that platform. So I really enjoy having you here. I enjoy painting with and for you. And so glad to answer any questions or anything, comments, entertain comments as they come in. Let's jump right in. I see Lola is in the room. Lola, so good to have you. Thanks so much for popping by as always. And this evening, if I can remember kind of running, it's really, really cold here this today and yesterday, but it is going to warm up. I think the high yesterday was maybe 0, -2, something like that Fahrenheit, and it is going to warm up, though close to 50 degrees, I believe, by this coming weekend. So it's going to be pretty warm, and we'll get a break from the cold weather. But today it is still cold, and I think that's just kind of frazzling my mind and slowing me down. But we're going to jump right in. I want to jump over to the other camera and show you the reference photo that we're going to use and what we're going to be doing this evening. You'll notice behind me I have toned the canvas, and so we'll jump right into that. Welcome, welcome, those of you that are popping in here. So glad to have you. Those that are coming in sporadically, good to have you. You can comment wherever you're joining us from and engage in the conversation if you have questions or comments as we go through this process. I'm going to move my other camera over here so that you can see my canvas once we get started. And we will jump right into it. All right. I think this is going to work. All right, all right, all right. So today we are going to do something interesting. We're going to do a horse portrait. So I have the canvas marked out like you see the red lines. This graph really helps with composition, and it helps me and hopefully you to understand why a painting works better or worse than another as far as the reference. This graph helps to kind of combine the golden ratio as well as a, I guess, systematic way of laying out the items on the composition. In this case, it's just one item, but the features of the horse really falling along the lines and at the intersection of these lines helps to make it a stronger composition. You'll remember a few weeks ago we did a painting of a horse in motion, and the intent there was to really express the motion through really loose brush strokes. This time I'm going to try to replicate this portrait, but I'm thinking I'm wanting to do it a little bit different, a little less photorealistic and a little more dynamic. So keep tuned, or keep I guess tuned for that. All right, let's jump in, and I'll switch the camera over again to the canvas so you can see that right in front of you, and we will jump right in. I don't know why my brain is moving so slow today. I feel like I'm just stumbling over all my words. All my words, all my words, all my words. Okay. We want to jump right in, and we're going to start with a very large brush. And welcome, welcome for the new participants coming in. So glad to have you. So glad to have you. All right. I'm going to put some, obviously this subject is brown, so I'm going to put browns on my, and actually let's do some raw sienna and some burnt umber on there, and we will go in and draw in. What I'm trying to do, what I want to do is start to draw in the composition. So let's take a look at the, graph, and let's start drawing in some composition. All right, we want to put in touch points. So, whoops. Yeah, this is too light, too similar to, let's look at where the horse crosses. Oh, you know what I did? I forgot my lines from there to there. I do that often, don't I? I wonder if I can put it in real quick. I tried to do the graph from memory, and I thought I had all my lines in there, but I don't. So let's put this in and see if, helps if your thing is stable. We'll put that in because I think it's really going to help us be more accurate with our composition. Let me do that also on this side. These are just paint markers, basically. So that, and it is acrylic, so it should dry really quick. Hey there, thanks for popping in. Yes, horses are beautiful, and this is the second one I've done, so I'm kind of excited to try and see kind of where it goes. All right. Yeah, I am going to have to do some darker brown. We'll include the others, but let's go darker first. That'll help us put in the composition. Okay, we need kind of like that. And we're going to carry the horse's body all the way to the bottom of the canvas, even though our reference photo doesn't take it down that far. So we need, though, is kind of like that, I think. I changed technique a little bit. I'm actually using this darker brown and the underpainting to actually help with the so I'm kind of help with the composition. So I'm basically doing negatives few more people popping in. Welcome. Glad to have you. So I painted that because I didn't have that wrong. So we'll adjust. His nose comes out here, kind of. Whoop. There we are. And his eye is off centered a little bit, but the brow line is right on that line. Something like this, I think. We'll have to really work on that. Okay, we have the basic. Hey there, Bob G. I heard you guys were getting some horrific weather. Ooh, we got some this weekend, but didn't mean to send it that far south. We didn't have the ice, sleet, just the snow. And very, very cold temps. So, okay. Now, if we look, so we have the basic composition. And if we look at, make sure the eye is placed correctly. His nose is right in there, actually. So or the nostril. So let's put that, the nostril is like right in there somewhere. His ear comes like down here. This is where the shadow is from his. Then he has kind of shadows like this that come. All right. Little by little, we'll keep working on this one. Then we want to really look at the right-hand side, which is the which is our guide for values. So when I squint, I see a light. I'm going to do a light, basically 3. Remember we said we're going to work on values and composition over the next 3 months. So we want a light and then a mid-tone, and we'll bring this a dark. So we'll kind of just have a spectrum, and I'm purposely kind of mixing them on the, which it's harder to see, I suppose. Let me try to bring it into the light a little more for you. But we have the light, mid-tone, and dark. And let's just do large blocks again. We'll start with the light. Okay, when I look at his, if I squint, he basically has a block of light right here, comes through there, and there. There's a little light there, but that's the brightest spots. Those are, and then his nose and around the nostril. Okay, so we'll just do a really, really, really rough block in, and then the mid-tones are going to kind of be the color of the tone. So he has here kind of these mid-tones. There's some in there, and they come in through there. And again, I'm looking at the black and white version to tell me where, not the color. I'm not looking at colors. I'm looking at the black and white version when it tells me where to put mid-tones. And again, these are big, wide swaths. He has one. It's kind of in here. Then when we look at the darks, yeah, it's right there, right there, right there. Again, we're looking on the black and white side, on the right side. Hey, Lanika, thanks so much for joining. So good to see you. All right, y'all, if you want to see what I'm doing, look at your screen and kind of squint and look at the right-hand side, the black and white, and you'll see what I'm seeing. I'm seeing a big section of light, the lightest value on the top of the nose, the midtones right there and right here, and a little bit right here, and then we're seeing the darker tones in these other places. So that is, by just breaking them down into kind of 3 spots, that's what I'm doing. And that's why it looks exactly like it looks, where it's just like block, block. But by getting these big values relatively correct, you then can go in and you take each larger block and you break it down. Okay. And then the more, as you break down, then it becomes more more easy to bring realism and still keep your brush strokes that are loose. We just keep going in and kind of adjusting. And all these layers will benefit us in the end. They are actually mostly on my walls here in my studio. If y'all can hold on to your stomach, I'll show you kind of. So I have a bunch of paintings on my walls, and then I have paintings down there along the wall. I have about 10 paintings along the ledge here that are waiting to be done. There's a bunch of paintings along here that are old junk paintings that aren't done. So yeah, there's paintings everywhere. And some of the early paintings, of course, were stolen in the robbery. But I fortunately have digital copies, digital pictures of all those paintings that were stolen. So I still have, and the videos I've done over the last 2 years. So really glad I live streamed, because then when they were stolen, I have a permanent record, even if it's just for me. I have a permanent record of this process. So, and I have probably 10 or 15 paintings downstairs in my living space that I just enjoy, that are on my walls downstairs. So yeah, I kind of do. It's a mess. So I don't know that I would want to show my showroom, but yeah, it is. At some point, I'd like to have a little more of a public studio space where I can go in and paint in a studio and people can see, and I can hang things on the wall, but we shall see. All right, now what I want to do is, since we've done the, do I plan to make any of them NFTs? Not until the NFT world kind of calms down, because it kind of, everybody got greedy, and it blew up everywhere. But I am going to, as my goal for the next 5 to 10 years is to continue exploring my skill and building my skill. And then you'll understand this, Lanika, once I have product market fit, like once the audience says, oh, we want that particular, composition, or that particular technique, or that particular style, then I'll know I have something more than just kind of a student's skill level. And then I'll decide, some of those bigger questions of how I distribute, if I want to sell my art, and even if I want to produce what the market wants, because the market may want something that I'm not necessarily interested in producing. So I am being very conscientious as I go through this process to control my experience of it, so that I can continue to learn and grow artistically. So, big, long answer to your question. Yes, at some point, I imagine everything will be NFTs, but that is not a goal for getting rich quick necessarily, because I think there's a whole lot more when it comes to NFTs than just, releasing a project, minting them, and money magically flows in. So I am mindful of the technology. I'm watching the technology. I have friends who are artists that release NFTs, and I own NFTs, but the majority of them are not worth anything. So I'm kind of just going around my process. All right, we're going to put a background in, because that will help us to start to make sense of this. So we'll put in our shadows. Again, I'm looking at my black and white version to lay in these values, and we'll get tighter and tighter as we go. But I want to start putting in this background, and then we'll see how the values actually are as we start putting in this background, because the background that's what's going to make or break this painting, is this line right here along this background. So we'll bring it right in next to our little horse here. start to carve out. See how he starts to pop out once we just put some darker values around there? It's kind of crazy. His little self kind of appears out of nowhere, right off the canvas. Oh, sorry. I was trying to get the bottom of the canvas, but I just need to hold it while I do that so that it doesn't. Now I'm going to bring the shadows up further, kind of like we did with the lion 2 years ago. If you all remember that painting, I'm going to bring the shadows in a little further just so that we really, this is the highlight of the so I'm kind of intentionally bringing down his body here. We'll bring that into the shadows and just basically make that a blob. Okay. We're starting to get there, y'all. We're starting to get there. Look at how he's popping right out there. All right, we'll work some more on the horse, and then we'll go back and do another at least 1 or 2 layers of the background so that it covers, but we'll get some good texture as we do. So let's see, let me back out. I'm just taking some photos and looking at this, seeing what I like, what I don't like. Okay. Now I want to explore a little bit, if y'all will permit me. So I am going to take some purple and some blue, put them, some magenta and some blue, which are complementary colors to these oranges and kind of the orange and yellow tones that are in this horse. And I want to play with this a little bit. And so this blue is really stark, though. Maybe we take... I want to play with some of some of this and see what happens. Probably looks a little ridiculous, but we will see. Okay, I'm warming this up with some magenta, which gives us a really nice purple, kind of a royal purple. And that allows us to then put in some tonal variations. I think you can start to see what I'm doing, or at least my intention. Okay. Now, as you watch me kind of wreck this painting before I fix it, I'm hoping I can fix it. I'm sure I can fix it if I spend enough energy and time. Clearly, there's not much nuance in what I'm doing because I've never done it before. But I have seen artists do this effectively, and when it's done correctly, it is very powerful. So I am going to keep playing with this so that I can learn my own lessons. This is very powerful. I've seen this done for portraits, where you use human portraits, where you use complementary colors to begin to sorry, I'm thinking, and my values are quite off here. Where you can put complementary colors right up against each other and they work. Thanks. Yeah, getting there. It is just a constant balance of the values and then dialing them in without getting too crazy. I got too crazy for a while. Okay, I'm going to take a minute just to breathe and step back because we're back where we started, it feels like. And I need to figure out what I want to do. To fix it. Okay. I'm going to go back to the background and do another layer of background and give our horsey a minute to breathe. So I'm mixing almost a black over here. Oh, except it's coming out really blue, so we need to add more brown. And I'll use this to try to do some additional carving of the carving out of the composition. I started talking and then quit. Sorry. My goal with this painting, well, one of the goals, is to really capture the spirit of the reference and the spirit of this animal, but it's also to capture the kind of a high-end feel of this painting. I want it to feel almost like a high-end oil, even though it's acrylic. So I want to get really strong dark background, really strong feel of the light striking the subject, clear, clear, clear contrast. So that's the goal. Okay, I think we're in a good place to start putting in some detail. I want very little detail here, so let me come in and see if I can do that. Let's see if we can get his body correct first. Whoop. Use some burnt umber. A little bit of blue. Let's see. Okay. I basically want to start just suggesting where the light falls. So I'm looking again to the black and white. Again, I'm just looking at shapes and trying to dial those in. It's harder than it seems, huh? I wish I could paint like Sargent, because this is the type of thing Sargent could do so well. Well, I can't. So let me go in and I'm feeling something I haven't felt in a long time, y'all. And that is when I first started painting. Remember when I would say every painting goes through an ugly phase before it comes into a pretty phase? You just have to keep painting through the ugly. That's what I'm feeling right now, and I don't know how to fix it. I feel like I'm painting ugly right now. Hey Max, so good to see you, hear from you. It's been forever. I hope you had a great end of your year and a happy new year. We will have to catch up soon, sir. Thanks so much for your kind encouragement, since I'm feeling like this is not going anywhere quickly. Not going anywhere good, at least. Let's go see if I can get this down a little bit. I get really frustrated. I always remind myself, like, this is just literally, this is the practice. This is the process. Like, it is absolutely doing this over and over and over. It's becoming more and more observant. And then it's just becoming better and better. We'll figure that out. He looks a little funky now. Yep, that's exactly it. And the more times you get through that, then the next time, the last 3 weeks I've been working on a mountain sunset, and it's still not done. But I know that the next time I try to do something like this, it's going to be much less difficult. It's just getting through the icky parts. Ooh, interesting. We should definitely have an offline chat sometime. What I find in art, at least right now, is the process of, I feel like I'm now kind of at an elementary student level as an artist. I can do some basic things and make them look like I want to look. But this process and really refining the process and working at the process to figure out, it's almost like a for me it's like a puzzle, and so the figuring it out is super fulfilling. But while I'm doing it, it is so meditative in a way, because I think it's also because when I started, I decided I wasn't trying to be great. And I'm not, like, I'm just, and I don't know, I mean, maybe someday somebody will look at something I do and say, oh, that's great, and, wonderful. But even if they never do, like, I am getting what I want out of this process. The process is what it is for me. And then if somebody else, if when people come and say, oh, that's amazing, or oh, I love that, of course it feels good, but that's not at all my intention, not what I'm trying to do with it, if that makes sense. Let's definitely do it. Would love to hear what you're thinking, and yeah, that's really cool. I think you're in that kind of stage. I was telling a friend last night, and you're in about the same stage of, when you're 20 to 25, 25 to 30 is when you're really kind of like, why am I here? What is my purpose? And you're exploring, at least based on my experience, exploring all these things. You're trying a million different things. 90% of them aren't working or working in the way you want. And yeah, it's really, I think you're just in a great time of life, and it's cool to hear that you're thinking about these things. The good thing is, I was telling this friend last night, is just about to turn 30 and, going through some transition. And I said, good thing is, if that's kind of just the stage of life and that everyone kind of goes through it to some extent or another, then you don't have to make a bunch of drama around it, and you don't have to get too scared or paranoid that you won't figure it out, or that you're going to get to the end of life and you're going to mess it up. Or I know I had a lot of those fears when I was younger. Like, what if I mess this up, and what if I don't figure it out, and what if I get to the end and I have never lived, or a lot of drama. But if you can give yourself kind of the breathing space to go through your process, then you can really have some cool growth. I'm struggling right now with both value and color. And you'll notice this is something that I want to get better and better at, is this game of color and value, because right now this is all one value, and I'm afraid, meaning if I turn this black and white, this would be all light, this would be all dark. There's very little variance here, and there's very little variance in the original. So that's what's challenging, is like, how do you push the values, because now my brain is wanting to look at the colors, and then I'm losing the value. But I'm going to try to, again, it's all just exploration, y'all. Can I go back and put in values and just trying to go in here and put in, again, these shadow spaces. Once you lose the dark, it's hard to have light without the dark. And I know that's cliche, but once you lose the dark, it's hard to have any sort of suggestion of volume because you've lost the darkness. So that's what I'm kind of going back in and trying to add that dark in a way that is serving our final goals. That makes sense. And we're getting a little more form. This is distracting, obviously, but it's much easier to lighten that up like this than it is to I was going to put up the reference with the colors, but and without the grid lines, but I don't want to do that just because that is even more distracting. I think it takes me completely, it's so hard not to focus on color that, yeah. Okay, so let's start to at least see where we might put this mark. For this, I'm just mixing a little brown and yellow and white. The white is so translucent. So we'll have to figure out if that's going to work. But it at least gets a mark on the canvas, right? I think it is more. This looks like a hot mess, I know. Hey there, Beth. I'm trying to salvage this painting because it's not coming out very well, but we'll just keep working on it until we get it right, or as right as I can. with my current level of skill. Thanks. I need to fix this jawline a little bit and the eye, but you just keep doing layers. If we keep doing layers, and you wouldn't think that purple would work here, but little bits of purple are actually working. So mix it with a little brown. Because they're complementary colors, they will work. But we just need to figure out let's see, we need to reestablish kind of the Ew. Just keep messing up. Just keep messing up, y'all. That's all right. We'll figure it out. Okay. Now I am going to move my palette over so I can still, but I'm going to bring my other palette thing over here. That way I can, I'm going to mix some colors. I want a really, really dark, the background color again. See if we can straighten out this jawline. All right. Let's see. I think we there. I think we're starting to okay, I think we're getting the shape back that we want. We have a really strong jawline here. Which is great. And that goes. Okay, I'm going to take a breather, step back. Okay. Now I'm just trying to see what I need to do to push this painting forward now. I think the biggest weakness for me is that I don't know, like I'm not as schooled in the anatomy of the horse as I should be. The same with humans. Like I need to do a lot of exercises where I literally draw rudimentary horse heads and human heads. Because if you get the proportions correct, that's what this is all about. It's because I don't quite have the proportions figured out, and so it looks really iffy. But you can also suggest things, shapes. Yeah, I've done a couple of dogs. I wish I had a really good picture of him, Bob. If you have a really good picture of him, I'd love to, or really clear, or if you can find an elk hound photo on the internet that looks like yours looked, that would be really cool. The hard thing is, is finding the right photo references. That's why this, even as hard as this painting is, it's better because the lady who took this photo did such an excellent job that it gives me something to work with. Okay. Now we're starting to get somewhere a little bit. I just don't want to overpaint it because then I lose my values again. We have to figure out a way to get these I have to find a way to get this where it looks the where it looks very what am I trying to say? Muscular, and we need multiple reflections along the face of the horse. That's what how to figure this out. So we need some darks. Hey, Garrett, thank you. I'm glad you like it. We're getting there little by little. It's starting to look correct. At this stage, it's literally taking 1 or 2 brush strokes at a time. Looking at it and seeing, where does it I still haven't figured out this jawline, but it will get there, y'all. Ugh, brighten it up again. Nope, I'm messing up. I'm messing up. I'm losing. I'm going to stop because I'm losing my values again. They're going way too light. And yeah, I'm trying to figure out what I'm doing and it's not working. So it's going the wrong direction. I'll just have to like do that again. We're almost to the end of our time. So let's see if we can kind of get this in a decent spot. I think my eye is maybe too high also. Maybe I need to bring it out here. Not sure. Whoop. Yeah. We're going to have to keep working on this one. It's not quite where I want it. Should make the mane darker. Yes, thank you. I am going to do that when I do the last coat on the background. Then I'm going to do the final mane. So right now it's just very much suggested where it is. Like it's just a little bit of like that. There's just a few brush strokes that suggest where the mane is. But absolutely, you are correct. I'm going to come back and darken the mane. It needs to be almost so dark that it blends into the background. So yeah, that's the goal, right? Correct. Almost feels like this. There, that feels more natural to me, actually. All right, we're starting to get it back, aren't we? Okay, I want to just put got to figure out the eye because it looks now, I like this, but then the eye looks like it's kind of crazy eye. But I haven't figured out how to make it look correct. The eye is not the way I want, but it's better than it was. So I'm going to keep working on that. Thank you, sir. It is getting there little by little. But that said, I think I'm going to take a break because we're almost to the end of our time. And it is definitely looking overworked right now, but it's in a good place, I think. Let me step back and look. Yes, I like where it's going. I think, honestly, I need to do less rather than more. To get this all worked out. I think it's just I'm happy with this for sure. Like, I really like the shape of the muzzle, or if that's what it's called. And I just need to fine tune this. Maybe the eye needs to be, oh, I don't know. I think it's in the right place. I just need to really fix how it is shaped and how the light's hitting it with this part of the anatomy. So yeah, but it's not bad. We're getting there. And then when I put another dark coat around it, I think it's going to look really good. So, all right, let's wrap this up. I will switch you back to this camera so that I can say a proper adieu. I hope that you have enjoyed the show tonight, the live stream, and that you will return again for another show. Oh man, okay. Where's my camera? There it is. All right. Next week, I believe we will be episode 93, 92 or 93. So it will be good. All right, all right. There we are. Okay. Thank you all for joining me. This is where we are with this one tonight. And at a distance, it doesn't look bad, huh? Then when you get up close, you're like, oh, what's that crazy horse? Now, actually, it's not as bad as I maybe thought it was, but definitely a learning experience, not as easy or fun necessarily as other paintings, just because it took a lot more work to get it and reworking. And so, but I am really excited with where it's going. And I think this could be one that could be framed eventually. So, yeah, thanks so much for joining me for this painting. As I said, next week will be, I think, episode 92, 93. I think it's 93. So until then, you can join me on Instagram at Stephen E. Rice, where I post the progress photos for paintings I complete, as well as progress of the painting in process as I go on my stories. You can typically find that before the painting's complete. So Instagram is the place. Otherwise, it's YouTube here for these live streams, as well as some videos about my process and how I'm developing it as an artist. So I'm going to be producing at least a video a month, trying to do at least one a month on some of the things I'm learning, things I'm focused on as I go through my process. So, yep. I think that is it. I am going to run and get warm. I am going to hunker down for the next day or so until we get back into the 40s and 50s, or 30s and 40s. But I hope you have a great rest of your week wherever you are. And thanks so much for joining me, and we will catch you next time.